What's going on, guys? It's your boy Scrub here, back again with another video, and today we're going to be talking about something we've talked about a lot this last week, which is Microsoft buying Activision, because officially the FTC is going to be reviewing the deal and making sure it does not break monopoly rules. Wow, wow. Let's talk about it. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, as I'm sure some of you know, over the last year, the government has gotten more and more unhappy with, big technology, mainly because they be doing some shady stuff. So anytime there's been a deal or anything of the sort, it's been a little bit closer looked at than mergers in this entire area used to. So when Microsoft announced they were buying Blizzard, it was obvious it was gonna get reviewed. Microsoft Activision Blizzard deal will reportedly be reviewed by the FTC, as they've held more aggressive stance on big tech mergers in recent months. Obviously, Microsoft, when you think of big tech, is one of the companies you think of right away. I would say Apple, Google, and Microsoft are the three that most people think of quickly, or Amazon. So obviously, if it seems like the FTC has been trying to wage war a little bit more on big tech, it's not surprising that they're going to be reviewing this. I also think a reason that this was going to be reviewed is just the sheer magnitude of the deal. Activision is by far one of the biggest gaming companies, I would say. Microsoft is one of the biggest companies of the world, and they own the Xbox division. So yeah, they at least need to look into it and make sure that this new company that's going to have all the assets of Microsoft Gaming and all the assets of Activision Blizzard isn't going to put them in a situation where they can kind of do whatever they want to the consumer and there's not much anyone can do about it because they're just the company you kind of have to use. I'm not saying that's what their plan is, but you know, I don't think there's anything wrong with a quick little review of a giant merger and acquisition just to make sure everything's going to go the way it should go. Way easier to prevent an insane monopoly from ever happening than to just let them have it and try to undo it later. The US Federal Trade Commission will reportedly be taking the reins on reviewing Microsoft's intended acquisition of Activision Blizzard amid a more aggressive stance from the government's agency on big tech mergers. Bloomberg reports that a source pointed to the FCC taking the lead role in investigating the proposed takeover, a job it handles alongside the Justice Department, and the role of the review is to determine whether the near $70 billion deal could harden consumers, rivals, and partners. Now, obviously, I'm nowhere near as much of an expert on this as the FTC is. That's kind of why they exist. That being said, one thing that I do feel is I don't feel like Microsoft, even after they buy Activision Blizzard, are in a monopoly position that's going to harm consumers. I think looking into it is a good thing. I think, investigating it before the deal goes through is the way that this entire organization, the FTC, is supposed to handle stuff. That being said, I think you take a look around gaming and you're even after Microsoft owns Activision Blizzard, you still have Take-Two, which owns GTA, all of Rockstar, all of those games. They just bought Zynga for $12 billion. You still have Sony that just bought Bungie. You still have a lot of independent studios. I'm sure I'm missing even more of them, but you guys get the drift. I don't necessarily feel personally that if Microsoft's allowed to buy Blizzard, that all of a sudden they're just going to jack the price of games up to $300 and there's nothing anyone's going to do about it. I do think, it is going to make Microsoft basically the biggest player, if not one of. I think them or Take-Two are basically going to be the biggest gaming company. But all in all, just because there is a lot of competition, the fact that Sony went out and bought Bungie recently as well makes me think that, they're going to be able to let it slide. Better to review it, though. Honestly, I think tech is one of those things that's been getting a huge slide when it comes to regulation, just because for a long time it was this new industry. It wasn't really anything they knew how to regulate well. And for a long time, a lot of these companies have been doing a lot of stuff to make money that now that we're kind of seeing the results of it, we're ooh, maybe we need to take a better look at this. So I think it's a step in the right direction that they're going to look, but that being said, I don't think they're going to stop the deal and prevent it from happening. I could totally be wrong. Maybe the FTC comes out and goes, Microsoft, get out of here, we're not letting you buy it, but I don't think that's very likely personally. On the same day as the Microsoft deal was announced, the Justice Department and the FTC announced plans to rewrite merger guidelines, warning that U.S. industries had become increasingly concentrated. The FTC chair, Lena Khan, said such concentration could lead to price rises and lower wages. Yeah, I think there's still been a lot of this going on. Consolidation tends to happen at the end of a crazy economic cycle, and obviously we're reaching the near the closing ends of this bubble right now. Everything's up a crap ton, interest rates are super low, money's flying around like crazy. This tends to be when consolidation happens. That being said, I do think the FTC's got a point. There's a lot of industries out there where there's really only like 2 or 3 companies that control the entire thing. The one that pops to my mind the most, you know, I appreciate them reviewing Microsoft, don't get it wrong, but y'all really need to look into this like cable and internet thing we got going on. There's just 8 cable companies and they basically agree to not cross each other's territory. Like, that's what kind of bugs me about the FTC and the Justice Department. I'm not mad at y'all for investigating Microsoft and them purchasing Activision, but like, there's so many more blatant abuses of monopoly and business going on, and the fact that you're spending your time looking at this instead of the fact that like cable companies have de facto monopolies and territories they don't cross, like some type of mafia, it is a little frustrating. Oh, thank you. You'll protect me from Microsoft owning Call of Duty, but nope, I still only have one choice for an internet or cable provider in the area. The Wall Street Journal has previously reported that the FTC is particularly concerned with big tech companies like Microsoft, and that Khan has been reframing the argument against major mergers, not by its traditional effect on consumers and rivals, but to partner companies, for instance, those who are effectively forced to sell through the Apple Store or Amazon's digital storefront. See, now it's all starting to make sense, a lot of Microsoft's behavior. Remember how they made it very clear that they weren't going to be removing any cross-platform games, you know, they weren't going to be adjusting any current agreements in place with other gaming companies. I was like, why are they stressing that so hard? Well, it makes sense. If they're out here saying that, you know, hey, if you're going to start affecting your partners and really affecting digital storefronts or places where things are available, and the next day Xbox comes out and goes, Call of Duty is an Xbox exclusive. You can't buy that on Piss Station anymore, stupid Sony boys. Like, okay, the FTC's got to block the deal. You know, and I don't actually hate Sony. I was just pretending that, like, Microsoft came out and was just super arrogant about it. All right, you know, you guys know, whatever. Anyways, though, I think that explains why they're being so adamant that, like, we're not going to affect a lot of where these games are offered. You can buy it through the Microsoft Store or the computer. You know, they're trying not to make it look like you have to buy an Xbox to play these games. And the reality is, A, I think that keeps the FTC off your back, which is a benefit, and B, probably just better off to sell games to everybody on every console anyways, because there's a lot more people to buy games that way, dude. Like, even if Microsoft in this imaginary world cut off, you know, Sony from ever having a game it made, I don't really think that helps, bro. Like, I think it probably makes more money letting people on PlayStation play its games than it would not. Obviously, they're going to keep Halo exclusive, a couple of exclusives, but yeah, I think taking Call of Duty away from the PC and the PlayStation hurts Microsoft more than it would help them in this world. The FTC has recently sued to block 2 huge mergers, NVIDIA's purchase of ARM and Lockheed Martin's takeover of rocket engine manufacturer Aerojet Rocketdyne Holdings. Whether the FTC has a similar case to be made regarding Microsoft and Activision Blizzard remains to be seen, and a legal expert tells IGN the deal is unlikely to break current antitrust laws, but it seems clear the deal will receiving much more scrutiny than Microsoft's acquisition of ZeniMax Media. Well, I mean, to be fair, I don't know how much they paid for ZeniMax, anywhere between 12 billion. I want to say 12 billion. I don't think it was 30, but 30's in my head for some reason. I think that's what they paid for LinkedIn. Whatever, you guys get the point. Even at 30, under half the value of this deal, obviously this one was going to get a lot more scrutiny either way. Like I said, I don't necessarily think this one breaks any super obvious antitrust stuff I can see. Obviously, the FTC is a lot more better at finding out that stuff than I am, but I think NVIDIA purchasing ARM was a lot more of a overall control of the market thing, rather than like if NVIDIA went out and bought a game development studio, because it's not like that's directly related to their industry. Same thing with Lockheed, like buying a game development studio as Microsoft. Microsoft's not out here making all their money off gaming. A majority of their money's coming from the cloud, you know, the software they create. Gaming's just a division. You compare that to like a missile and jet company buying people that make rockets. Yeah, all right, like that. This is a little bit more pertinent to you being in control of the entire industry, you know? I don't know. I do think this deal personally is going to get approved, but I just figured I'd update y'all. It'll be interesting to see how this goes down. I am glad the government might actually be double checking stuff before it goes through. It seems like they might have been, should have been doing that all along. It doesn't make me feel too great that they're like, yeah, other deals weren't getting much scrutiny before this. It's like, so you're noticing all the problems with the ones you're investigating now, but like, what about the ones that you didn't? Anyways, guys, I think that's gonna do it for the video. Hopefully you enjoyed enjoyed. If you did, I'd really appreciate you taking a second to press the like button. Let me know in the comments section down below what you thought. And of course, subscribe if you're new and turn on those notifications. I would very much appreciate it. I'm going to go ahead and put a link to the intro song down below, along with a link to my podcast, The Scuffed Cast, or you could use code SCRUBBY at the G Fuel checkout to get a discount on G Fuel. Help me out at the same time. I'd appreciate it. And the last link down there is a link to the merch store. Feel free to go grab yourself a t-shirt. You know, they're pretty fly. And yeah, on that note, don't get anyone pregnant. If you do, make sure they're hot. And hopefully I'll see you guys next time. I'm out. Peace.